Here we're going to be talking about going from hard copy microfilm to digital images and how to protect your records along the way. And the first thing we're going to talk about is how microfilm is a very unique, one-of-a-kind type of material. Microfilm rolls, or reels as they're called, they look like kind of movie film reels, but just sort of smaller. It's a very unique type of data where an image document is photographed and then put onto this microfilm strip that then spooled onto these reels. And typically, our clients will have one copy of them. Some will have a master copy and then a duplicate, but most clients will have a single copy. So they're probably one of a kind, very unique. They don't have backups. So you have to protect them, make sure they're handled properly. Not only that, but microfilm itself, just the medium, the type of material is becoming less prevalent every day. More people are scanning it, or they're just getting rid of it if it's past its retention point, whatever it is. So a lot of microfilm was around in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then into the 2010s. But many of the people that kind of grew up with microfilm were running agencies like public agencies that knew the microfilm was there when it was created, had the machines, know exactly where it is, how to handle it, the distinctions between types of microfilm, and how to find records. They've retired, they've gone away, whatever, they're not part of the organization anymore. And newer folks that are going to these public agencies or these organizations with microfilm just don't know how to use as well. So digitizing it is a major step because it's critical material, critical information, but it's on a type of material that just not as many people know how to use. So again, very unique type of record that many are digitizing so they can have it in that current contemporary format. Another thing with microfilm is that although it is a long-term storage material, it can actually last up to 500 years if stored properly. If it's not stored properly, it can start degrading and deteriorating. And unfortunately, it's not usually stored the way it should be stored to last 500 years. So we've seen material that starts kind of getting gunky. It smells like vinegar. It's called vinegar syndrome. It starts deteriorating. And if you don't scan it, you could just lose that data. You may have the hard copy, but it's just unscannable or just degrades so far that you can't actually read the information on it. So that's another reason to digitize and protect that data. So if you choose a company to scan with, let's say you choose BMI, you say, I need to scan my records, these are student records on microfilm. It's sensitive material. You're gonna want it protected in a certain way. You don't want people that shouldn't be having access to the records, looking at it or handling it, of course. But even if you don't have sensitive data, it's still your data. It's still a copy of the material that you may only have that one copy. You want it protected. So even if it doesn't have personally identifiable information, PII, it doesn't have financials or health records, things like that, you still want the company you're working with to protect the microfilm to ensure that it's safe through the process so you actually get that end result digital image. A couple ways to protect the data in a physical fashion is when you work with someone, you ask them, how is your facility set up? How do you protect the records? And that's going to be through facility security. So you're going to have camera monitoring, break-in monitoring. You have segregated production areas so someone can't just walk in the front door, then walk around the production area and touch materials. Even, companies will have visitors or clients on site. You don't want them looking and handling your material. So what's the procedure for visitors? Who can actually get in the building? How do employees get access? Is there a multi-factor way to get in the building so someone can't just get in on their own without being allowed access? All these things go into physical security. You can think of the physical aspect like an onion. There should be layers to get to the material. Even in these segregated areas like a lobby versus a production area, how is sensitive material handled? Is there a secure record storage area even in the general scanning operation? So these are questions you should be wondering about and asking potential scanning partners when you're going to work with them for your film. Then there's the digital protection. So once the microfilm is actually scanned and it's processed and now you have the digital images, you still need to protect the physical records. They're probably going back to you for maybe putting long-term storage. But those digital images, what's going to happen with those? How are those protected? Some ways to protect them while they're still in process is least privilege access. So are only the required people that are working on the project allowed access to those images? If you have a company that has 50 people in it, or the one you're working with, do they all have access? Do they need access? Or is it restricted to only people that are working on or potentially working on that project that actually have access to your records? And then there's encryption. So once they're scanned, are the files encrypted at rest? Are they encrypted in storage while they're being processed, while they're being worked on for that final delivery? Then there's just the digital aspect of the company in general. So of course they're gonna have software systems and probably hosting systems and all the other things that go into actually converting these records from analog to digital. But how do they test that their systems are up to date and they're protecting the data of their own business, and this is a scanning company, and their clients' records? Do they get penetration testing? Are they audited? Do they have people looking into how their network is set up to make sure that records are protected as best they can be during scanning projects? Digital security is top of mind for many people these days. Everyone's thinking about cyber insurance breaches and everything along those lines, and it's absolutely critical. And when you think about it, if you have a project, let's say these are medical records on microfilm, and you have 100 rolls of microfilm, which typically hold about 2,500 images, that's 250,000 images on 100 rolls of microfilm. So you have 100 reels, like physical reels, so you want to protect the physical. So once the microfilm rolls are digitized and those 250,000 images are more accessible, that's the critical aspect. There's a lot more data that's accessible. So that digital piece of the security pie has to be tight, so someone can't just get those digital images. So you think 100 rolls of microfilm, 250,000 images. Once they're digitized, there are a lot more access points to that data, so it's got to be protected. Now, getting access to your data after a project is another part where it has to be protected from your scanning company. Again, let's say it's BMI. Once we scan it, it's ready to deliver to you. It needs to be protected, getting from us to you. A couple ways to do that. You might be getting, PDFs, TIFFs, things of that sort. But how do we get it to you? That could be a hard drive. They should be encrypted unless it's completely public information like newspaper images. If it's sensitive data, socials, dates of birth, student records, medical records, financials, it should be on an encrypted hard drive sent to you. So even if someone tries to intercept that in transit, it's encrypted, they won't be able to get it. There should be a single point of contact to receive the encryption password. So when it gets to you, you contact us, you let us know, and then we give you that password so you can decrypt the hard drive and get your microfilm images in that digital format. There's also file transfer protocol, also known as FTP, or what we use is SFTP, secure file transfer protocol. So that's just an electronic delivery. It's kind of like sort of a Dropbox type of thing, but we load your images to this secure portal. You have your login and password. You pull the images down, but it's a secure method of doing it, so it's not just anyone can get into that. You need to have the credentials to get into that transfer protocol. Or you might be using our digital reel hosted application, very common with our microfilm scanning clients, where you can see the replica of the microfilm in digital reel, but that's also a secure platform. Login credentials, there's multi-factor authentication, we can put in IP lock filtering. So it's not just an open platform that anyone can access to. You get to assign your users and decide who has access to the data. So taking your microfilm from analog to digital is its own process. We just talked about a few security considerations, but if you're thinking about doing a microfilm scanning project, you should watch this Guide to Microfilm Scanning video, which will go through all the steps involved of a microfilm project, the steps in the process, pricing, cost of microfilm scanning, everything that goes into that. It's a nice holistic way to look at microfilm scanning in a single video. So take a look at that, and thank you for watching.